Day 419. Here we are. I'm going to go out and run for a bit. I'm going to run for a run for a bit. In a bit. Still need to wake up. But before that, we're going to do some mobility and a little bit of strength training, just challenging the body to make sure we make the most of the morning. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 40 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, try to get between 7 and 9 hours in the night. Last night was 6 hours and 30 minutes-ish, so short but still good. I mind what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, so 21, 2200 calories in a day is where I try to limit it. I try to eat 120 to 150 grams of proteins, and I try to eat a lot of fresh, healthy foods. And I appreciate the support in chat. Thank you very much. And I do strength training, conditioning training, and mobility training, which you can see here on the stream every day, usually here between 5 and 6 a.m. my time, which is Amsterdam time. So whatever time that is where you are now when you're watching. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I want to feel fit, capable, and competent for whatever life throws at me at 41 almost. I think it's important to be able to take on life, whatever it throws at me, whatever it brings. And I know that being healthy, fit, and strong is going to help me be able to do that. It's also about being fit and strong and healthy in the long run. So I imagine I might live to be 80, maybe even 90, but those final years of my life are supposedly going to be riddled with discomfort and disease. And a lot of lifestyle choices that I can make today are going to help me prevent and delay the onset of such discomfort and disease, because I think there's a lot of research to indicate and show that we are not living the healthiest and the best life we can. On top of that, I have 2 kids. I want to be actively involved in their life, and I enjoy going outdoors and being on adventures and doing things like hiking mountain trails or in nature. And you need to be relatively fit and capable to be able to do that. So there are a lot of reasons for me to want to stay fit and stay healthy, which is why we're here. That being said, just remember, whatever fitness journey you're on, you're good just the way you are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I'm going to hit the timer. And we are going to get started. We're going to start simply with a couple of walkouts. And I think we have quite a bit of work to do on my back. Probably slept in a slightly awkward position last night. So I have to slowly tease that out, warm that up, starting by breathing in deeply and exhaling and inhaling and exhaling and inhaling, exhaling. All right, the neck. And again, when I do mobility, I'm just trying to use every part of my body, every joint, every muscle, to complete a range of motion that I would otherwise not usually engage or use. David, good morning. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Thanks for dropping by and saying hi. And I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. That your journey on health and fitness is taking you where you want it to take you. So I'm just using every joint, starting at the top and trying to move it in as many directions in a controlled way as possible, because this is probably one of the only times during the day that I get to mobilize all of my joints. That's alright, but I just need to be mindful of that. And it's easier to keep talking with some exercises than with others, obviously. But look, nice and easy start. And then I'm going to put on some more clothes, running gear, and head out for a nice 30 to 45-minute run. And that we have a day that needs starting. So what are you up to this Sunday? What are you going to be doing in the middle of February? On a Sunday morning and a Sunday afternoon. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit. I'm going to spend some time reflecting on where life is and what is going on in the world. And try to plot my course in that for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And, good reminder, the way to do that is I always start by thinking about my health. Because even though health is not a primary need, funnily enough, whether you believe it or not, I think what we What do you mean? With the kettlebells? Appreciate that. You mean that I lined them up in order? Blue, yellow, and purple. So, starting with health. Health might not be a primary need, but when we are unhealthy, or what we would call sick or ill, it suddenly becomes incredibly important. And I think what we need to keep remembering is that we can prevent certain illnesses and discomforts if we invest in using our bodies in the right way. But this would require us to invest some time and energy into that idea of health. And by the way, health is very different for everyone, right? It's both a feeling and a physical condition. So physically, biologically, there are a lot of different markers that are going to help assess how healthy you are and will be over time. And I suggest you get a bit familiar with some of them. And also try to understand where you stand in or with all of those different markers and what it might mean for you to be fit and healthy. Right? So there's physical health, which is something that we are working on right now. It is mental well-being, and I've spoken about that, how different events in life, but even the season and the amount of sunlight and the amount of dreariness in winter can affect our mental state. There's the experience of a range of emotions throughout the day, which is completely normal because emotions, believe it or not, are crucial in our ability to make decisions. So, just keep those in mind, keep that in mind. And it's okay to experience a wide range of different emotions throughout a day, because we're able to, when we're healthy, regulate those and simply regulate our emotions allowing us to stay in control and to use them instead of allowing the emotions to take control of us and drive our behavior. But emotions are a good indicator of what we're experiencing and what we need to do. So we need to learn to trust them and embrace them. All right. Then there might be a category of spiritual health. You might be religious. You might hold other beliefs or traditions. You might want to check in your commitment to them throughout the week, throughout the month. Just think about whether you'd like to spend more time practicing whichever rituals or traditions are a part of your beliefs. That's a good practice to have in life. And then there is your financial health. And I always lump financial health in with health at the top, because I do not believe that having stress about your finances, being worried about whether or not you're going to be able to pay rent or buy food, is conducive to either physical health, because probably your stress hormone, your cortisol, is continuously spiked. Your mental health, because you're always worried, probably not able to sleep well. Financial concerns, probably, oh yeah, there I can feel that in my back and my legs. Not in a bad way, just the stretch. So, being honest and open with yourself about your financial concerns, state of living, is key to understanding and unlocking your health. YouTube Punk, oh, appreciate you dropping by and saying hi, and I hope you're well and you're going to have a good Sunday. And hey, thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I appreciate that, and I hope you're doing well where you are in the world. And YouTube Punk, you dropping by as always, appreciated. Thanks for saying hi. Alright, going to work on that ankle mobility. Just trying to improve that mobility for all kinds of things, but specifically for squats and squat depth. Whether that is the regular old air squat or general toddler squat or the Cossack squat, especially on this leg. With the Cossack squat, I think my ankle mobility be a bit better. And that's going to help us with our full range of motion, what we talked about earlier. Alright, so those are the things that I would check in on when it comes to health. I'll go on to looking at our relationships with the people we love and care about most. It's usually our direct family, whether that is our parents and our siblings, or in my case, my wife and children, and then my parents and family, and then my friends, my closest friends, people I have or haven't seen in a while. And what I want you to check in on specifically with yourself is, is relationship good from your perspective? Do you feel that you are loved for and cared for in equal amounts, in a similar way, not the same, but a similar way as you love and care for them? Have you invested time in the relationship recently? Have you been spending time one-on-one? Have you talked about what's going on in the other person's life? You ask them how they're doing, whether they're doing just fine, or whether they need some help, something to talk about, something's on their mind. Whatever it is, you might just want to remember to check in with them. And you'll see that in turn they probably also checking in with you. Maybe one of them has checked in with you, or a couple of them, and others they haven't spoken to for a while. And with good friends, that's completely fine because everyone's busy with their own life. But, don't be afraid to check in with your friends once in a while. Now, if as I'm talking about this, you're thinking, well, to be honest, I am somewhat lonely and actually do not share this experience at all, then it's important to think about the role friends and family play in life and in our mental, emotional well-being, also in our financial well-being. And so make a point out of actually meeting people and trying to find some friends. And I know this gets harder as we age because we're pretty set in our ways. However, we can and should try to cultivate a group of people around us whom we trust, who we can discuss our ideas and dreams with, who we can turn to when the chips are down, so to speak. And I know you understand what I mean. But it's important to just be mindful of that. Keep that in mind. So how do you do that? Well, another part of relationships is the community or communities you are actively or passively a part of. And I know we don't always think about life this way, but to be very honest, right? If you live on a street and there's a neighborhood, that neighborhood is a community. If you are a part of a sports club, that sports club is also a community. And I know those cheap 24-hour gyms strip away all pretense and just have the facilities and people come by. But in the end, you are all people in a shared space. If you have a sports club and a sports group, a group sport, for example, football or hockey or something like that, it's a bit easier because you and the team are something of a community, right? School, education, usually an easy one, but also for the parents. That is a place where you can meet other parents or other adults for a chat and a talk. And believe me, men, when I say to men and boys that if you're lonely or feeling a bit on your own, there are many more of us out there feeling the same way. And the only way to really break through that is by reaching out to people and starting to talk to them. And these communities are an easy way to do something. So like once a year, twice a year, all of the men in the neighborhood go out for a drink. It's like 2 or 3 hours of my life. You just chat and talk, man talk. But that way, when we meet on the street, when we chat, you just have a bit of a connection with the people around you. When you ever need anything, need to ask for some help, the barrier is a bit lower. Doesn't mean they're going to turn into your best friends overnight, but it just means that you get to interact and communicate. If you aren't comfortable with something that close to home, perhaps there's something that interests you, a hobby or a club, something that you can do, that you can join, that you're interested in joining. As you find like-minded people there, are you into chess? Join a chess club. You are into fitness, join a CrossFit box or a High Rocks group. Or find the gym that specializes in powerlifting competitions. I don't know. There are different ways to approach this. If I'm going to read your message in a moment. We just finish this exercise. Meet new people. Go out. Talk to them. I don't expect 10 of them to stick. But even if you can find 1 or 2, you can talk about your hobbies and what you find interesting and have a good laugh about it once in a while. I think you'll find that safety net is probably going to be helpful. And it goes both ways. Hello, sir. I hope you're well. Justin, we did 100 lunges and 80 wall balls with 10. Whoa. Ouch. Well, that sounds like a good workout, Justin. Thanks for letting me know what kind of workout you did. Sounds intense. Sounds like fun. And I'm pretty sure you'll feel better for it tomorrow, even though you need a day to recover from that. But good on you. It's a good way to spend your Saturday. Mel B, good morning. How are you doing? I hope you're doing all right. How are those kettlebells working out for you? You're still getting some good use from them? You're still happy with them? I hope so, but you can let me know here. And here you're going to see how unflexible and stiff I actually am. That I have some more work to do in this flexibility department. But I will also be very honest. Compared to 2 years ago, because I would not have been able to get this close to my toes back then. You can see that there is good progress in just the general level of flexibility in my body. Let's get some Cossack squats. But we're going to stay nice and low. Ooh, a lot of popping in the joints. We're just moving around at this height because we can. And here's where I want ankle mobility to improve for some better range of motion there. All right, let's see. That was that for mobility. I need to change up the timer. Going well. Okay. Well, there's a whole mobility routine I go through every day. If you want to follow along with that, it's the same, nearly the same, almost every day, Justin. And I found that it's something I wish I had started to do earlier, and at the same time, there's not a lot you can do about the time you start doing those kinds of things. But you can see it's been benefiting me. I move better, I feel better, and generally I feel I have a better command of my body because of mobility exercises. We're going to move on to some strength before I make coffee and then go out for a run. And Melby, I'm very happy to hear that. And I hope that they keep bringing you the health and fitness you are after. Speaking of kettlebells, I'm going to just embark on a short warm-up here because we're going to be doing some deadlifting. Most bang for your buck with a big muscle group. to do a little bit of a flow just to get that full body engaged. That is going to be a deadlift, a row, a clean, and a squat. Down, deadlift, a row, clean, and a squat. Lift, row, clean, squat. Deadlift, row, clean, squat. Deadlift, row, clean, squat. That's 5 in a minute. And we're going to alternate that with a couple of swings. Hand to hand, 5 left, 5 right. Getting a little bit of a feel of where we are with the body this morning. Slightly stiff, but in a good place. Alright, let's move on. 16 kilo. Don't worry, I'm not going to do 200 swings today. Do my cardio on a run. We're just slowly picking up the weight. Doing a little bit of strength work here before the conditioning work. Again, it's going to get into those deadlifts. Yeah, that seems to be going all right. Let's try that flow 5 times. Full body. The only thing I'm not doing is the overhead press, because I am still taking it easy with any pressing and overhead work, pending the recovery of my right shoulder. So we do deadlift, a row, clean, and a gauntlet squat, and deadlift, row, clean, gauntlet squat, deadlift, row, clean, gauntlet squat, deadlift, row, clean. Last one. Deadlift, row, clean, gauntlet squat. Okay. Do a couple of hand-to-hand swings. Lighter weight. $20 kilo. Picking it up. Slowly working our way up. And what are we doing? The jump from 20 to 40 kilo in a moment. All right. This is all still just gently warming up and living up. Progressively heavier and heavier weights. I'm going to do this another 10 times before doubling the weight. So, that's where I'm at this morning. We were talking about health, relationships. Now let's look at our finances. All right? So, when it comes to our finances, the three main categories that we want to think about. One is our income, which we want to be stable, reliable, and sufficient compared to the cost of living in the area we're in. The second is our savings, or our savings, which ballpark figure hopefully we're able to save between 10 to 20% of our income for the short-term, immediate expenses that might be unexpected, as well as long-term investments, which is the third bucket. All right. So, and this holds up to a certain level of income, because beyond a certain level of income, you should be putting aside a lot more instead of spending it. But we'll talk about that later. Generally, let's look at income first and foremost. So, I don't buy the theory that you should stop drinking your cappuccinos. You know, I do think that they are ridiculously expensive over time. But I don't buy that theory that you should stop drinking your cappuccino and that suddenly your finances are going to be thrown around like that. $100 a month, maybe, right? $1,200 in a year, times, if you're lucky, you invested well. Let's take a good rate of 4%, at 5%, I mean generous. $60 a year in interest or return. I mean, who are we kidding? Nobody is going to get rich of that. Sure, all little bits help, but the cornerstone of wealth for the rich and wealthy is definitely not the 1,200 euros that they're saving on their cappuccinos. All right? So let's just be very honest about that for a second. What we have to do and to look at is the balance between what we earn and what we spend. Should be a balanced equation. At the very least, should be as much coming in as we're spending. Better as if we're earning more than we're spending. But what drives this? Well, a couple of different things to consider. Your skill set, in terms of whether or not you're employable or able to start your own business, which I think is fine, a good way to make some money. Alright. The economic opportunity in the area you're in, if you're in a town of 150 people, doesn't matter how good your local gym, for example, is going to be, there's only going to be about 30 people who might want a subscription. If 30 is a number at all, given the demographics. So that would define a spot of limited economic opportunity, also for other kinds of employment. So your skills, the economic opportunity, where you're at, and then the cost of living in the area you're in. Life might be very cheap in this village of 150 people, but your opportunities to make more money are also limited. Nowadays the internet changes things, obviously, but I think you get the idea of the equation. So, for you to consider, very simple. Am I able to make money? Am I able to make enough money to sustain myself? Is the absolute cost of living in the area where I'm at able to be accommodated by my income? And I think what you want to start thinking of is, if your primary skill set is going to make you dependent on trading time for money as a starting point, that's completely fine. Millions of people do this every day. But then, are you able to trade your time for money in a way that what comes in is more than what goes out? So you're able to invest in those savings at 10 to 20%. We were just talking about 2 more sets of deadlifts to go, by the way. Because if you aren't, either you're not earning enough money because of the skills or the economic opportunity, or the cost of living is outpacing what you can make. Nowadays, with inflation, that last one is likely true. But I also know that, especially when we're young and don't have that many responsibilities except to ourselves, we can move to areas with better economic opportunities. 1, 2, perhaps therefore also finding a better balance between the cost of living and the income. Now, that being said, and I'm no financial advisor, but this formula has worked for me, making sure that I'm able to put aside between 3 to 6 months of expenses just in savings as an emergency fund. If the fridge breaks, car breaks down, dryer breaks down, unexpected medical expense, you name it, something comes up. We need money for it. That formula has served me really well, and that needs to come out of that income one way or another. So there needs to be a surplus to be able to start building that simple financial buffer. And once we have that financial buffer in place, we can start to look at investing in the future. But for investments, strategies, you need to figure out how you want to do it. I am completely risk averse, so I just use Warren Buffett's advice for numbnuts. And I definitely don't gamble with my money, all right? But we all need to figure out that for ourselves. The point is, the only way to get to that point is by first balancing our income with our expenses, by understanding our skills, our opportunities, and the cost of living. Then building a proper saving budget so that we can better withstand some economic uncertainty. And by the way, 3 to 6 months is about the time you'd expect it to take for you to find a job, which is why we're picking that number as well. And then there's the future, right? So finances. Now, to the final one, which are our pursuits, because there are 4 quadrants that we check in with. So we've done health, get fit, get strong, be well. We've done relationships, friendships, communities. We've reviewed our finances. Going to do some unilateral rows. I think we're at 7 on the left, 7 on the right. So let's talk about our hobbies next. What's something you enjoy doing, just for the sake of doing it? And whatever that is, you just want to do it. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to be tied down by commitments and demands. responsibilities to it. You just want to do it for the only reason that it gives you some sort of pleasure. And I'm pretty sure today's world, we've convinced ourselves that everything we do and we enjoy, we should try to make money off. We shouldn't. There are things that we can do purely for our own pleasure, because they bring us peace of mind, they help us relax, we're investing in a skill, we're learning something new, getting better at it over time, and it's just something that we need to do. All right? So I'll give you two examples from my life. One is creative writing. Snowball's chance in hell I will ever make money off that, and I'm okay with that. I just enjoy putting a story together and writing it. It's a creative hobby when I have time for it. I sit down and I do it, and it brings me joy, and I've gotten better at it over the years. And that's just something that I want to keep doing. And the second one is education and training. Helping other people. I think there are some colleagues that have asked me to help them on their health and fitness journey. They even offer me money, and I don't want money for it. I just want to, talk about things I've learned, help them out, and just have fun doing this. As well as making these videos here, there's no monetary incentive other than the fact that I enjoy making short videos and streaming about my health and fitness journey while I talk about life. So, whatever that is for you, just be mindful that you're allowed to have things like that in life. And that it probably helps you round out the other three. And by the way, we talk about them all exclusively from each other, right? But they are somewhat intertwined if you think about it and understand life for what it is, which is and the last one on the back, and then we're going to go out for a run, my friends. And there we have it. Some deadlifts, push-ups, rows. And we are good for this morning. It's already been an hour. It is definitely time for some coffee. All right, friends. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 40 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. Do so by minding my sleep, trying to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. Minding what I eat, trying to eat within my energy balance. 2,200 calories. Try to eat 120 to 150 grams of protein. Try to eat lots of fresh veggies and healthy stuff. Strength training, conditioning training, mobility training. As you can see, streams here. A little bit of strength this morning. I'm going to go out for a nice run. Next, it's about 0 degrees. Clear, no rain, no wind. Perfect conditions for a good run. Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today. It's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And the only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work. I appreciate you dropping by in chat, saying hello, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Meantime, check out my channel, subscribe, and just keep being you. Take care, friends.